Hey guys, Soulord here, back in with another action figure review of something that my good buddy Evil Villain couldn't possibly care less about, and that is the Popeye Ultimates Popeye the Sailor Man, brought to us by the fine folks over at Boss Fight Studios of Vitruvian Hacks fame, Bucky O'Hare fame, and whatever those skeleton figures are called fame. See, they're also making some Luchador action figures as well. Some Red Sonja figures, which look interesting. But as far as this company is concerned, I think I'm just going to stick to the Popeye stuff. Maybe those skeletons. Although, if you're trying to make skeletons in the era of Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions, they better be darn good skeletons. Just saying. But as far as their Popeye Ultimates go, they're the only ones in the Popeye game. I know Mezco's made a couple, and those were really cool, a little bit stylized. And then there was that one company that made, I almost think it was a statue, but it was a badass looking jacked Popeye. He was all tattooed and stuff. He was shirtless. Looked a little bit more realistic, despite the fact he still had the big tumor-like arms and his crazy chin going on. But yeah, needless to say, your boy is quite the fan of old Popeye here. It was one of the first cartoons I remember watching as a wee lad, and gotta be honest, without Popeye, I probably wouldn't have a lot of the cool stuff that I like that came out much later, because it was one of the earliest cartoons, you know. Came out in the 1930s, I think, so it's been around for a hot minute now. So I kind of have to thank him for his contributions to the history of cartoons and animation, right? That said, I'd rather watch Popeye than whatever the heck they play on the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon nowadays. What is that? La Casa Grandes and some BS like that? I don't know. Either way, moving right along and taking a look-see at Popeye's accessories. He doesn't come with a ton, but I think he comes with enough. He is just freaking Popeye. What's he supposed to come with? He's got a pair of grip hands. He's also got a pair of open hands. As well as a can of, where did I put it? A can of spinach. Just popped open there. Be careful with this lid. It's probably PVC, but I wouldn't want to bend that. Probably crack it off. And then you also have his hat. I gotta tell you, if you're familiar with the weak snap, I know, but the Playing Mantis and or Memory Lane Mickey's A Christmas Carol figures, these hats kind of stink. I'm not gonna lie. I think they should have been magnetic or something, because they don't stay on the heads very well. Because bringing in his head, his alternate head here, there you go. Looks to me like they have just the black eyes. They don't have like the irises or anything, just like pupils, like Hanna-Barbera and Archie stuff would. But if we try to pop this head on here, it doesn't really sit on there all that well. I'm using a good amount of force to get it on there. So I don't know if heating this and warping it would do it any good, but it's staying on now, but it doesn't take much to pop it off. That said, I guess there's a little lip on the hair in the front there. If I can not drop this like a klutz. That kind of helps hold it on. I don't know, you just kind of wedge it on there, but it's not very secure. So maybe I'll heat this up and see if I can get it on there a little better. But there's the alternate head. And one thing to note, the pipes do come out. Like so. They're a little tricky to line back up, but once you do, they go right in. So that's cool. Said he can't really hold those, so why they come out? I guess he doesn't always have his pipe right. But I like Popeye with his pipe. You know, that is iconic. It's how it is. But taking a closer look at the man himself, of course, also has two fist hands. You saw probably the hands just have a swivel. A little bummed they don't have a hinge, but you know. He does have giant tumors for arms. I don't know what he's supposed to do with that. But as far as articulation on this guy goes, he's got a ball joint in the head, a single ball peg, and he can look up better than most Marvel Legends with any kind of joint, so that's funny. Funny how that works. You can look down really far too. He also has mad tilt game. So you can tilt side to side. You can rotate side to side. I also don't remember Popeye having a buzz cut and then this little floof on the front. I remember him just having like a few hairs like Charlie Brown, but I guess I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I've watched it. The arms can go up way past 90. Solid hinge there. Do rotate forward and back. He does have a swivel in the elbow as well as a hinge. He does have a waist twist. His hips can kick out, back down, forward, pretty far. He does have a little bit of a thigh cut in there, as well as a swivel in the knee with a hinge. About 90 there. I like how this guy is built like all kinds of crazy, and yet he gets better range than a lot of figures that are built normal, quote unquote normal. And then he just has ball peg feet. I wish he had a ball hinge. I think they could have fit one in there, but based off the shape of the pant leg, unless this was a lot softer, I could see why they didn't do that. But that is Popeye in a nutshell. For the most part. He's got his anchor tats on his arms there. He's built kind of like me otherwise. I don't have giant cankles, but, you know. But why don't we try and get this freaking hat on? I will say, that's about my only gripe with these. I wish the hats were a little more secure. Again, I might try and heat them up and see if that works, but... You know, that's kind of fitting on there okay, but still not great. Not the best with the hats. I think the hats could have been a lot better. Again, I think magnetic hats is the way to go, especially if you're going to make them removable, or just give me a head without the hat on it. Because I will say the worst offender of the hat thing, as far as the two Popeye figures I currently have, and, you know, me only having two should give you an idea of who the other one is. Old Bluto here, I don't even have his hat on. Freaking this thing is humongous, but how this little squirt beats this giant behemoth of a character, I still don't know. I know he eats his spinach, but if I did that in real life, I'd probably get my ass kicked. So, you know, just saying. But Bluto's hat stays on way less than Popeye's here. At least Popeye's I can get to kind of snap on there and stay in place. But before I wrap this thing up, let's bring in our two regulars. Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus. Right there. And the 11 Spawn. Who, of course, is going to dwarf little Popeye here. I don't know what scale you'd want Popeye figures to be in. I mean, not going to lie, it'd be kind of hilarious if Popeye wasn't a game like Mortal Kombat and his finisher was he eats some spinach and he pops your head like a cork. That'd be quite hilarious, but I don't think he's a match for good old Al Simmons here. So before this gets ugly and turns into an all-out brawl between these two, I mean, I think Al Simmons is going to be alright. I'm a little bit more worried about Popeye here. Why don't we wrap things up with some final thoughts? Overall, and as I mentioned earlier in this review, compared to the Vitruvian Hacks line, which is primarily what I have most experience with from Boss Fight Studios, this is definitely a step up. The quality is so much better on the Popeye figures, it's not even funny. Like, it's a night and day difference, people. The only thing that I would say from this company that felt better in hand than these was the Bucky O'Hare figures, but I only ever got one from my local Ollie's. I never managed to find any other ones, so I ultimately wound up sending that to a friend. But that said, I am kind of tempted to dip my toes into this Popeye line a little more, because a lot of these figures are on sale right now on places like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store, etc., etc. And I wouldn't mind picking up Olive Oil or Wimpy, so maybe stay tuned for reviews of them in the near to distant future, I would say. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.